getting some rain here. That might have been what was impacting stuff. And Japan apparently is feeling really comfortable with Trump. So apparently they're going to gift him 250 cherry trees, and they've signed a rare earth deal and everything like that. So what is your thoughts, Sasha, about this relationship between Japan and China and the U.S.?
Mm, I'm not following this particular relationship. It's a part of his trip to the Asia, and there were, in my opinion, if I'm not mistaken, there were frictions between the U.S. and Japan about the tariffs.
They
Uh,
were.
yeah, so most likely, I don't know if they were resolved or there were some adjustments or what else was there. So, well, anyway, the pinnacle of the trip will be the June 30th, which is Thursday, meeting between him and Emperor Xi.
Hmm.
And it's very interesting how it's going to be because essentially, if Xi wants, because he now has all the trumps against Trump, so to speak. So he can say, hello, Mr. Trump, hello, Mr. Xi, and he can say, Mr. Trump, what exactly do you want? What do you need from me? And Trump, instead of going that U.S. always been a great friend of China and they respect and they do this, they would have to go immediately to the meat of what exactly they're meeting about. And I don't think that Trump will do very well under these circumstances. And interestingly enough, economic analysis shows that China needs very little from United States, if anything. United States needs a lot from China. And Trump will have to do a great job to convince Xi play along with US. It's a very, very tough deal, and I don't think that Trump is going to do fantastic job as he's claiming that he is coming back from China with fantastic deal. Fantastic deal is already the fact that China agreed even to meet him. That's already a fantastic deal, Mr. Trump.
Yep. And then, of course, we got the things going on with Israel because apparently Israel is accusing Hamas of violations over return of the captive remains. So Netanyahu says the remains returned by Hamas are body parts of a hostage previously retrieved in Gaza, and they're saying that was actually recovered back in 2023. So it looks like we're having some breaks in that relationship as well, and that ceasefire. So, what's your take on that, Sasha? And Nick, what's your take on it as
I'll
well?
tell you even more interesting thing. You know that a part of the agreement, uh, Israel um, let go about 250 hardcore criminals who were sitting in jails for killing, for bombing, and so on. So they had to release about 250 people just like that. So um, they're being monitored where they are and what they're doing and so on. Guess what? All of them are now in the five stars Marriott Hotel in Cairo, enjoying themselves, and they are getting tons of cash, the ATM machines. Why? Because of all these years that they were in captive in Israel, um, international criminal organizations, they were continuing to pay them as terrorists who did their job wonderfully, quote unquote. They were keeping paying them. So all of them are multimillionaires. and they have fantastic life in 5-star hotel in Cairo with tons of cash. Go and
Nick, what's going on there in Spain?
The weather here is very good. It looks like we have Rick Rosner joining us. We did have a lot of interest in our show that we did yesterday on the debt problem that you have in the United States. We
Yes.
tripled our viewership on LinkedIn just on that. So apparently people are in tune to the fact that the U.S. is $38 trillion in debt, and you can't just tax the rich and get out. It ain't going to happen. Because when you add up all the Forbes 500, all their net worth combined is only $8 trillion. Remember, we're $38 trillion in debt. So who's going to pay for the other $30 trillion? So, the U.S. has some systemic financial problems. Now, with that,
speaking of those problems, a lot of people are going to be having even greater problems because apparently Trump administration says emergency funds can't be used to keep SNAP benefits going, which is a lot around food stamps. So with food stamps set to drop November 1st, SNAP recipients say they fear what's next. So there might be a lot of very hungry people and maybe even some people that are in the edge of starvation and everything along those lines, if that is the case. And I'm not saying that they can't find other ways to get money like the food banks and everything like that, but they're saying that even the shutdown has put the food stamp benefits at risk, and it's who knows what in food banks are preparing for the surge as federal food aids could be paused. So the food banks are getting ready to get swamped.
That's 42 million Americans are on SNAP. So
that's a lot. I mean, well, the thing is, the U.S. has a lot of poor people. Sharif saw that when he came over here. So we're the land of the very poor and the very rich. And the very rich don't really care about the poor. So
one thing we can do is have less crazy government. If our government ever got its crap together, then because with crazy government, we have to offer higher interest on our T-bills to get, we're a worse credit risk. And when you're a crappy credit risk, you have to pay more in interest. And we're paying interest on $38 trillion.
Yeah, right. And the interest goes, as David Walker says, nowhere. You don't earn anything on that. So a lot of our budget is being spent on interest on the debt because there's somebody on the program, he's not here, believes internet should be for all. Well, we had to borrow.
That's how many billion is that? Not even 20
billion. 2 billion. It was 2 billion.
2 billion compared to 38 trillion. That's less.
No, I know that. But see, it's kind of like the attitude. The attitude is not one of gratitude, but the attitude is anybody who comes crying to Joe Biden, I need money, he just writes the check. And
Joe Biden isn't in office, so it's irrelevant now.
Ballrooms. You couldn't even build 7
well, this is one reason you can't join either party. People need to leave both parties because the Republicans are just as bad. Okay, so it's not like, I'm defending the Democrats, I'm going to defend the Republicans. I'm not going to defend the Republicans. Are you kidding me? They do the same thing, except they give all the money to the rich people. So, why is it? And this is what's wrong with America. Americans are not taught from birth to think for themselves. They're taught to be robots.
Nick, along the same you're talking about the tech giants and how bad the internet is and all along those lines. And we're on an internet platform. But isn't part of the problem that the internet is also in bed with the Trump administration? Because I understand that Mark Zuckerberg had a meeting with Pam Bondi even before some of this antitrust stuff was going on and everything like that. So it sounds like and of course a lot of the you have with Trump. And even in the point of investing in the ballroom and everything. So
you basically, because the Democrats presented such a weak argument that they brought in Tammany Hall into the presidency. They could have easily won if they had just one decent candidate, but they didn't.
I got to mention inflation because last night there was a ball game that was 100% longer than a regular ball game.
18 innings.
18 innings. I watched part of it.
And
is that inflation, Rick? Is that
100% inflation? Yeah.
Oh, okay. So watching ball games increases inflation. Yeah, Dr. Sharif.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to share a few news from Asia because Donald Trump right now in Asia Pacific. I think for US and US sustainabilities, and business growth, Asia Pacific is a very, very, very important factor for US economy. First thing first, I just want to share. Uh, when I see there are a lot of homeless people in USA, it does not mean I want to say that US people are poor. No, I just care about the people. Let's say that Donald Trump visiting Malaysia. Long time I live in Malaysia, and we personally have a very good relationship with Anwar Ibrahim and his wife. They are very, very good politicians. Even in Malaysia, you cannot find, it's a very big country, any single homeless people. It does not mean they are super rich, but this is the ecosystem they have. Definitely US rich people, those who have trillion-dollar company, they have to think about the grassroots level community. Trust me, Malaysia compared to USA, very small country, they do not have any single, in Kuala Lumpur, you do not find any single homeless people. And good news from Asia, I'm observing Trump trip in Asia. I find that Trump will meet with Xi Jinping in South Korea as part of the border Asia trip, including Japan, Malaysia, and South Korea. In Japan, Trump received a royal welcome, and Japan plays around 550 billions investment package to US as part of trade and security discussion. That's why I request our friend and colleague, those who join in this dialogue, come up with the real information. Some point it's look like propaganda when you say Trump do not this, do it, Trump do not this, do. I'm not a big fan of Trump, but I just request bring some real information. Third, in the ASEAN front, Trump announced a trade deal with Malaysia and Cambodia through some critical note that deals do not fully tackle issues like semiconductor, transshipment, and tariff. So, which is very important. Besides that, ASEAN and China signed an upgraded free trade agreements covering digital trade, green economy, pharmaceutical, which is very important. So the deal also come up with the US increasing some tariff and some other issues. But I believe with this diplomatic tour, Trump tour in South Korea, in Malaysia, in Japan, business-wise, it will bring a lot of success for them. Besides that, when you discuss about this economic growth, tariff, and all of the things, what I understand, Trump trying to make a good business deal under the tariff and all of the things. Let's say they also make a very good deal even with Bangladesh. So it's look like if Trump successfully continue this relationship. Previously, Trump visits Middle East, especially Saudi Arabia. Definitely, they are very rich. Qatar and UAE, and they are committing to $1 trillion investment in USA. On the other hand, Asia, from ASEAN with Japan, already they are bringing commitment $550 billion, which is very positive. And beside that, one thing, even though many of my colleagues, they always criticize Trump, I respect your views, but how Trump solving this global conflict, especially the war and other things, even this ASEAN summit, he make this deal in between Cambodia and Thailand, is it's create a big impact. How the countries, those who get all of the ceasefire and the peace and all of the good things, they will support US economy. They will support US leaderships. They will support in the US diplomacy in the future. That can be a very good and strategic things for international trade and commerce for USA. That is the things I'm observing from Asia Pacific. Thank you.
Appreciate it and everything.
Good report.
Hey,
Yeah,
Nick,
and by the way, it was very interesting to listen to you brief about the lack of homelessness in Malaysia. The United States could actually learn something from some of these other countries that don't have the financial resources, but also do not have the homeless population. But you know, the reason we don't learn is we're so arrogant because we know everything. That's the reason.
hey,
Well,
but speaking of arrogance, Nick, I got
Why
a
do
question.
we want to look at Malaysia? We know everything in the United States. Oh, by the way, ignore those 70,000 homeless people.
You ignore those and everything. But Nick, I got a question for you because there's been a lot of rhetoric going on about whether a democratic socialist will be a good thing or a bad thing for a major city. So I was just wondering your take on whether Mamdani is going to be good for New York or bad for New York, because they're saying that there's even a split in the Democrats, and apparently they try to do this big gathering that was going to be Hochul, who is the governor of New York, and also some of the more progressive wing of the Democratic Party, like AOC and Bernie Sanders and others that were coming behind this Democratic Socialist candidate. So, are we going to have a Democratic Socialist for New York, and what impact is that going to have on New York?
Oh, it's
It'll
going to be
be
absolutely
fine.
horrible for the New Yorkers. Watch it.
We-
But New
New
York
York,
gets everything they
we've
deserve.
lived through. I've lived through, I don't know, 8 or 10 different New York mayors. Some of them are good, some of them are crappy. New York just keeps going.
Yeah.
My wife and I lived there in the late 80s, and New York was a freaking mess full of crack. But it was still, a great city to live in, really. And it'll continue to be, even if Mandami turns out to be terrible, which he probably won't, compared to some of the worst. He's 34, which is, I think, an advantage. You've had some old a-holes in there who've made terrible decisions and stuff. And New York has a personality, momentum of its own, and what a good mayor or a crappy mayor doesn't have that much to do.
I mean, Giuliani wanted to be the one that was going to be the crackdown on crime, if I remember correctly. And I forgot, wasn't Dinker's main thing like around homelessness and stuff around that kind of area? Like,
Well, there was the Broken Windows Initiative, which was you go through the city and you board up broken windows, and then you paint over the board so it looks like there's a window there, and it makes the city look better, and it makes people respect their surroundings more. And I guess it helped some.
that was under Dinker.
I feel like the Windows thing was Giuliani, but I don't remember. But that was freaking 25, 30 years ago.
Thinking that I said Dinker, but it was
One thing I just want to add for these homeless people, as I'm also helping a few of my American friends to solve these homeless related issues. Nick actually bring very important point that learn from other communities, learn for other countries. If you see Malaysia, I can remember I have many famous scholar. They are my friend, Ainul Jaria, Noor Farida. They are rector or vice chancellor of International Islamic University. They said, look, in 1980s, we do not have even electricity. What you see, so much of developments and everything, we get it. I said, so how you improve your country? They said, we go visit Western world for higher education, we come back, we contribute for your country. Even though for these homeless people and solving these poor people issues, I can remember, Islamic finance is very important and very valuable for Islamic world. So on the other hand, Bangladesh has great success with this microfinance, because all of our grassroots level peoples, how we solve this poverty, how we solve these grassroots level problems with this microfinance. So what Malaysia do, they actually invite microfinance institute in Malaysia, and they have Islamic finance, and they integrated this process, and they bring the new financial solution for the poor people. And from there, they produce a lot of entrepreneurs in this grassroots level area and everything, and they reduce poverty. The same way, right now, I'm actually working with G7 and some other OIC members, and I'm providing this climate finance and Islamic finance. Definitely, climate finance come from many large corporations and financial institutions of USA. On the other hand, Islamic finance also very strong. So if this kind of two things, not we should not only looking for Western world, even from our grassroots level or from our own economy, we have our strength. When these things we work together, we can solve this thing. The same way, I advise few of my friends in California, why don't you introduce this process for your like homeless people, and we call it zakat in Islam. We like we have 7.5% income, and we share these things for the people, poor people. So this way, we are actually reducing the poverty and all other things. I can understand that there are a lot of Islamophobia, there are a lot of terrorism and many more things. But every religion, even Jewish religion, has good things. Uh, Christianity has good things. Hindu has good things. Buddha has good things. Even though just not create this propaganda and everything, introduce all of the good things for your country and solve the complex problem. That is my request, and I'm trying to help. In my capacity is very small with one of the CEO. Her name is Christina. I'm actually helping just 100 people. If any investors and the people they join in our ecosystem, maybe we can help more homeless people, and we can develop better economy. And this way, USA can add $1 trillion economy in their country. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that'd be a good idea. Nick and Sharif, apparently City Limits, which is a New York magazine, is saying that that homeless issue could be the real test of the new mayor and everything like that, whether it is Mamdani, or whether it's Cuomo or whoever it might be,
So
and everything.
I asked AI whether Mamdani is going to be good for New York, and obviously it's not going to take a stance, but it listed some stuff that he's for, like free public transit. Right now, it costs $2.90 to $3 to get on the subway or get on a bus in New York City, which is a huge freaking bargain compared to any other way of getting around. So, like, getting rid of that, I don't know. Will that create chaos on the buses? Will the buses run faster because people aren't?
Well, it hasn't created chaos, and it hasn't made them run faster here in Durham because the buses have been free since the pandemic, and they've been free until I think the next time they'll come up for vote will be fiscal year 2026. So they're
So
free.
you like it? It's working for your
It's
city.
working for this area, but like I said, it doesn't make them go faster though. They still have some issues
No.
with time and other issues, and
So
and I haven't seen I mean, I've seen maybe a little boost in ridership, but I don't think that I've seen a big boost in ridership because a lot of people are attached to their cars and will never give up their cars no matter what and everything. By the way, the York homeless population is increasing at an alarming rate. They said in calendar year 2024, the number of New Yorkers in shelters, excluding new arrivals, increased by roughly 12% to more than 73,000. And of course, the thing that's pushing is a lack of housing, and that's what's pushing.
well, so he wants to
Well,
he wants to do make rent control rules a little stricter. Average rent in New York City is $3,600 a month, which is double the national average. He wants to do universal health, child care. I don't know how you do that, but that seems like that could be. I don't know how you pull that off.
I don't know how you pull that off. Speaking of how you pull off stuff, what is our thoughts? Because apparently the largest union is was trying to end the shutdown, but the shutdown is still going on. There's supposed to be another vote coming up, I think, in another day or two. So, are we going to get a shutdown ending anytime soon? Or is this thing
No,
going
not until after November 1st, which is just a few days. So the Republicans want to keep everything shut down because if the House goes back into business, they have to hold a vote on whether to release the Epstein files. And Mike
Wait,
Jones.
wait a minute. Why are you guys saying that when the Republicans have all voted to open up the government? Hello?
Because frickin' Mike Johnson is keeping the House adjourned week after week. And the Democrats, hold on, the Democrats want to keep it shut down because until at least November 1st, because then America will see the health care. They'll get their bills for the next year of health coverage. And I think the Democrats think there's going to be an explosion of outrage when people get their bills.
That's a definite maybe, but
Hello, guys.
we'll have to see. Hey,
Hello,
Steve,
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
When are you going to be running
Yeah,
for Congress?
No, well, first let me win one step at a time. I got to win the commissioner race first. Put me in the catbird seat in 28. We'll see. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. Real quickly, I got to run in about 3 minutes. But just a quick update. I did have some exciting news for the Pod TV family. That yesterday, the New York Times breaking news article on Governor Gavin Newsom running for president was written by my daughter, Sonia Rao.
Nice.
And the governor, whom I know through my work, texted me yesterday saying it's a small world. He'd actually asked my partner if that was related to Steve Rao, the skinny little Indian American guy that works for you. and is also a councilman, so who has a lot of energy. So that made my day that the governor remembered me. But that was a proud moment for the Rao family. And you can follow her at Sonia Rao. She's the breaking news journalist now for the New York Times. So she's had a number of articles written. With that being said, the thing I wanted to update everyone is, Trump is visiting the Prime Minister of Japan. They're doing a lot of deals on trade and energy. Jamaica is bracing for the major hurricane Melissa. And Governor Josh Stein is in Japan with the former Secretary Lee Lilly and Chris Chung, the EDPNC director. And everyone's scared now about SNAP running out. My wife this morning said that she's concerned about, rioting and looting in the stores because Medicaid and food, a lot of aid is leaving. So I think everyone's on a high alert right now, and I really hope that we can get a deal. The Republicans are acting like the Democrats are holding it up, but they're holding ground on the Obama subsidies, and then I think the other ones are it's just crazy times out there. So I just hope we can figure out a way to get through this. And I just wanted to give you a quick update. I'll try to be on longer tomorrow, but Mark, that's my quick update for today.
Do you feel the stalemate will break anytime soon?
I think it's going to have to, Rick. I mean, I think that we just can't, as Americans and even Republicans, I think eventually they don't want to see SNAP benefits and children suffering. So there's going to be no option but coming together and doing some kind of a deal, even if it's temporary to get us through the next couple of weeks or months. And so I think that I hope and pray that we can get these folks to come to the center and get it done. And it would be awful to head in the holidays with folks, not being able to, unemployment's high. People are really scared about things, and I think we just need to figure it out. So
yeah, I agree with you. Hey, another computer person was in the news as well, and I had mentioned it earlier, but I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts around this notion that Bill Gates is saying that a doomsday outlook on climate is driving people to focus on the wrong thing. So he's saying that climate change will not lead to humanity's demise, and he's got an urgent ask for the UN climate summit that is coming up. So he's calling for a strategic pivot in climate change, fight away from curbing emissions. So he wants to go away from curbing emissions, and he's thinking that we're doing it wrong. So this is another tech giant that is thinking that we are giving too much attention to the way that we're handling the climate.
So one nice thing about Bill Gates is he's one of those tech guys who's on the spectrum. He's got like no finesse. He kind of says what he thinks, and he's he doesn't get, he's DGAF, don't give a, and so I like what he seems less compromised than some of the other tech bros who are kissing the current administration's butt.
Yeah, well, I
have an update on your friend Mandami for Sata Star. You'll find this interesting. Mandami curated and produced the soundtrack for his mother, Mira Nair, 2016 film Queen of Catway.
Oh, I've known Mira Nair. She's actually been down here in North Carolina because she's produced things for Full Frame and everything like that.
Well, the Queen of Catway was the movie that was produced about the chess player in Africa that Elliot Neff, who's been on our show, helped out the production of it, and it was on Disney. So there's a chess connection to Mandani, believe it or not.
Well, I may have a
have a great day. Keep safe up there. I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, we'll see you.
A TV connection, because I think
his stock
was
just
at
went
Full
up.
Frame, and we might be able to get her here because I think she was at Full Frame like maybe about a few years ago and everything like that. But I know,
Mira Nair. Apparently, she produced the film Queen of Catway. I didn't know she produced that film, but it was a chess program all the chess players watched. That was pretty good.
Yep, I'm looking at Full Frame Documentary Film Festival website, and she's actually curating some stuff. It looks like she might be curating this year.
Yeah, he curated and produced the soundtrack for his mother.
No, I'm saying that this year it looks like she's going to be curating a whole category of films. So one thing that Full Frame does is they have a famous person curate the films that they would like to see. So it looks like she's going to be doing a curation celebration for the 20. It looks like she did it for the 2026 festival, which was this year. early. No, that's next year. This coming year, she's going to be doing some work with the festival. So I'm actually on the selection committee. So I'll find out more about that, and maybe we'll get her here on Pod TV.
Yeah, that would be good. You know, we could.
She's got some apparently she's got some full frame ties, which is like the Sundance of documentary filmmaking and all along those lines. So we'll have to reach out to her and see if we can get her here on the network.
Yeah, so Mamdani, my thinking is that the jury is out yet. He's never run a city before, or frankly run anything. So he can write a blank check as to see what he does. You know, who knows what he's going to do. He could do really well, he could do really poorly. You know, he has no track record to say, yeah, he's going to be very successful or he's going to be
Well, speaking of track records, the one thing that has been having a bad track record is ICE. And apparently the Trump administration is planning a shakeup at ICE amid frustrations over lagging immigration arrests. So they're feeling that they're not having enough arrests. And I don't know if y'all been watching it, but there are commercials that are airing. There's even something I think aired during the baseball game, during the World Series, either 1, 2, or 3, and definitely during the division playoffs and everything, where you literally can be an ICE agent. So Sasha, you can go become an ICE agent and everything like that. So they were literally recruiting people to go to work for ICE in these commercials. So, Jacoby, are you gonna apply?
No.
Why not? Serve the country, Jacoby. He quickly said.
Just to point out
Don't you like serving your country, Jacoby?
Okay. Can I talk now?
So
point out what they should have done is actually given the teachers the actual benefits that they're giving ICE, but they're not doing that because cruelty and uneducation is what this administration is about. So they're trying to recruit anybody and everybody from ICE. They're not really even doing background checks on a lot of different people. It's a poorly run situation, and they're desperate to do Stephen Miller's wet dream of trying to deport anybody brown. And it's sad, and that's just the reality that we are. And I would not work for ICE, especially up under this administration, because of what the directions ICE are put up under by this administration. Other administrations would have been a possibility because, hey, look, they're actually trying to do something. This one, they're just attacking brown people, and that's just it's bad. It's just really bad.
So there's a cliche that says a fish rots from the head, and ICE culture, as directed by the people in charge of ICE, is loose cannon and cruel. There's nobody in charge of ICE who is pushing the idea of restraint. They're out there, saying the same crap they've said, since they were formed under Trump, and there's nobody saying. I worked in I bounced a bunch of bars when I was a bigger guy, and you need somebody among the security staff to say when they're kicking the crap out of somebody to say, hey, that's enough. And there's nobody in ICE currently saying that's enough.
But that's what Americans voted for.
Yeah, it's not great.
That was the number 2 issue.
Even
though you guys don't like it, that's what you guys wanted. So that's
I mean,
it's just like if somebody complains about Mayor Mahdi when he wins the New York mayorship, I'll go, why are you complaining? That's who you voted for.
Yeah, I mean that's what America barely voted for. Less than 50% of Americans voted for Trump. He won by 1.47% the popular vote. So it's not like he has a mandate, but
the two major issues on the table back then was the economy with inflation's going way up, and then then the other issue was immigration. Those were the two big issues, and the Democrats failed to address either one properly, so they lost the election. They lost the center. Remember, all the liberals are going to vote for Democrats no matter what. And all the conservatives are going to vote for Republicans no matter what. If you don't control the center of the board, which I tell the chess players, and Sasha knows that, you will lose the game. And you guys did not control the center of the board. You lost the game.
There's a huge paradox where more and more people are call themselves independents. They're disgusted with both parties, and so half of Americans are now independents, with only a quarter of Americans being Republican, another quarter being Democrat. But there are no politicians in the center because of the way our system works.
Yeah. The other thing we should discuss.
You were talking about chess and
control.
everything like that when it came to Marinere. I think the other film that she was known for, which is even Toby and others that are watching probably know this one more than they would know the chess film, is Mississippi Mazzala, because she also did that film as well, which was actually a big time hit and all along those lines. So yeah, she's been in the film game for a number of years.
Can we
And she
go
also
back
did
to,
Monsoon Wedding.
Well, let's bring her on, Mark. I mean, the thing is, it sounds Queen of Catway. I'm there. So yeah, go
can we
on.
talk about climate change again for a sec? One reason to be optimistic about climate change, that it's going to be bad, but it won't be that bad, is that younger generations do not know how to hook up with each other and have kids. Everybody is stuck on their phone. They don't know how to talk to people. We've got a worldwide baby shortage, which is great for climate change, because if we hit peak humanity in the 2050s instead of in the 2080s with 10 or 11 billion, if we hit it and stay under 10 billion, that's fewer people making pollution. And if we can figure out how to stop AI from, just burning up a huge amount of fuel, then we can maybe beat climate change.
Yeah, well, we also should talk about rent control in New York, because there's some different arguments about that. Number one, of course, if you're living in a rent place and you're paying rent, you don't want your rent to go up. So if the government says, no, your rent doesn't go up, you get to stay there. But then there's another problem. Somebody wants to move into New York, they can't, because you've got all these other people that are sitting on rent controlled properties. It's a little bit challenging to say, hey, rent control is just wonderful, even though I do not like landlords. It's just, it's problematic.
But
why would you have rent control is my question.
Well, because New York rent is $3,600 a month. So we play all sorts of games where somebody who's in a rent control apartment will sublet that. You have old ladies who are paying $700 a month.
The problem
I don't know why this is a big problem. Go to Kansas.
Nick,
they have internet for all. Go to Kansas.
Nick, what you're saying, and you started out with New York because you pointed to that.
Well, that's one of his
you have to realize. Hold on. You have to realize that rent for everyone in every city goes up, and it is as expensive for everyone in those cities. You're speaking from a plateau and not really listening to the fact that, for example, when you say, oh, just move to Kansas. Well, what about the people in Kansas who are struggling at the rent level that they are, but the rent is going up and the mortgage is going up? Where do they move to? Because you have people that are coming in that are going to push up the rent for them. Then, well, they'll just move to Tennessee. Oh, well, what about the people in Tennessee who are struggling right now at their rent level, and the rent is going up and it's just getting more expensive for them? Everywhere is more expensive.
That means you need to build more housing.
Even in this area, mortgages and rent are going up due to taxes, due to inflation, just everything around is becoming less affordable. So when you just say just move, that doesn't do anything.
Yeah, that's what capitalism is all about. You can't afford it.
Where you're talking
you
from.
You leave. You don't sit there and whine to the government.
Going on.
Not everybody can afford to move though. So what do you do with those that don't have your resources?
Mark, but his position of privilege allows him to move to Spain or to buy another home or to just bounce around from country to country.
Hey, you're right. You're right.
The majority of people cannot do that.
Spain has affordable housing and they can do it. They just don't want to because
You're telling me that the average person who lives in the projects of New York can move to Spain.
You got people in,
but then you don't have you don't have the magic hand of Adam Smith waving around to make sure the right person is in that particular apartment rented in New York. So, there's arguments against this rent control.
Well, okay, so New York has a housing crisis. This is an article says between 2011 and 2023, New York City added 900,000 new jobs, but only 350,000 new apartments and homes.
But the
That's
thing
the
is,
problem.
the problem that we keep doing, and we're doing it now, Rick, can you look up the same statistic you did for, let's say, St. Louis? Let's say just any state, any city. It is the problem.
Okay, here we go.
Country. So affordable housing is not affordable anymore. So when we talk about one city and forget about the other cities and just say, just move.
I shop for real estate and say, so AI says, no, St. Louis does not have a housing crisis. And I shopped around for housing and I was just, wasting time on the internet. I looked at housing in St. Louis last week. There are incredible housing bargains in St. Louis.
Correct.
You can get a decent house that's maybe a little beat up, needs a new kitchen for under $200,000. But maybe you're living in a dicey, St. What is a less safe city to live in than New York City. It's
so the top 10
Rick, what do you think of tiny houses? Because a lot of people,
Los Angeles,
including some of
Washington,
my
Miami,
friends, are thinking about getting
Atlanta,
tiny houses.
San Francisco. I mean,
The big cities are expensive. We know that.
I couldn't hear you, Mark. What do I think of what?
Tiny houses. A lot of my friends are thinking about getting tiny houses.
So for tiny houses for the homeless are a good idea, except that the state of California hasn't figured out how to do it cheaply. It costs an average of $80,000 to get a homeless person off the street, either into an SRO hotel, which is an old hotel that's been turned into low-income housing, or in one of these shed houses that's 8 feet by 10 feet. We can do it. We can put up a ton of shed houses in LA, and we have, because LA weather is, you can live in one of these tiny houses and be reasonably comfortable because the temperature never drops below like 48.
Hey, you can live in Clovis, New Mexico for $98,000.
Here's a question though.
1,288 square foot house.
Here's a
Clovis,
question.
New Mexico. So don't tell me they can't afford to go to Clovis, New Mexico
for under $20,000.
No, they just don't want to do it.
No. How much? No. Wait.
Okay, you know what it is. Here's your principal and interest.
I'm asking you a question.
It's $303 a month.
Nick.
Hello, Clovis, New Mexico.
Yeah.
How do you get
$303 a month. I
Here,
just don't
Nick,
want to go. I want to stay in
No,
New
that
York.
is just a dumb argument. Nick, how do you get there?
I just
It costs
found
money
it.
to get to Clovis, correct?
I just found it. It's
Does it
Clovis, New
cost money to
Mexico.
get to Clovis?
$303
Nick,
a
does
month.
it cost money to get to Clovis?
Yeah. You
So then you're not
got
taking
to
it
actually
back.
drive out there in your American car.
From the point of
But when you
That's
get
right.
there, what do you
don't
do
wanna-
for a job? What do you do?
Thank
Thank you. Nick, you're speaking from a point of privilege and not
We-
listening to the
I
actual
do it all the
common man
time, Toby. I
struggling
don't
to
see why
try
that's
even
a
to
privilege.
make money to feed where they are now. And just like Rick points out,
Mhm.
what kind of job do you get in Clovis? Do you get there and get homeless too?
You guys just don't like Clovis, New
No,
Mexico.
what it is, Nick.
Yeah,
is
I've been to New Mexico a lot. There's a lot not to like about living in
Oh.
New Mexico.
Lord.
But
Please.
yeah, you can find cheap stuff, but you do have to figure out what you're going to do for a living and stay off the meth. Albuquerque, one of the if you drive through Albuquerque, one of the greatest jobs to have is accident attorney.
You really need to have a real estate course, because the thing is, you should instantaneously be able to find places off the internet.
Nick, how much does it cost to
They're
live in
very
Clovis?
reasonable. Here's
Nick.
one near Montgomery, Alabama.
Nick, how much does it cost to live in Clovis, you
This
said.
is a 1,900
Nick,
square foot home
How
for
much does it cost to live in
99,000
Clovis?
just at the market. Oh my Lord, are you kidding me? Don't cry about this rent control. Oh my Lord,
All right,
$309.
so here's so I looked it up. Here's what you do in Clovis. Here's what you do. You move to Clovis, you get one of those cheap houses, and you open up a daycare. There's a need. That's what people are doing in frickin' Clovis.
Okay.
So
Also Montgomery, a 1,900 square foot home for $309 a month. Okay.
Montgomery,
the problem is you want the government to solve your problem.
The problem is you're speaking
you
from
need to solve your problem. Either you got to make more money or you move.
Just saying,
Okay.
hey, just move.
The problem is yours. It's not the problem of the government. Your problem.
The problem is the fact that you're speaking from a position of privilege, talking down to people, not actually listening to what the issues are. And
wait, I've got another idea. There are a ton of places. Laredo, Texas. I found houses in Laredo, Texas for $9 a square foot. Of course, they're in terrible shape, and like some of them look. What you do is you move to Laredo, you buy a crap house for $3,000.
I've done that before.
Flip it.
You made a lot of money buying those houses. You guys don't like fixing them up. But you guys don't want to do it because it was so much easier to go get Marody to pass a law to do rent control rather than me have to get off my rear and go actually do something. Oh Lord, we need a whole course on
in here before we go because we're almost out of time. So remember when Detroit was in ruins 20 years ago? You can buy an entire city block of beautiful old houses falling into the ruin. That's what you do. You spend $50,000. You buy a whole city block.
Who has $50,000?
You get a freaking mortgage. I don't know. You get. I don't know. Or I mean, in Laredo, you could buy a shitty house for $2,500. You pay another $800 to put up like secure fencing. You live like a freaking animal while you flip that house and put it back together.
It's called American grit, baby. American grit. Come on, Detroit. American grit. Okay. Come on, Detroit. We have to grit our way out.
The Russian-Ukrainian
We'll have to grit our way out of here.
Have world politics but right now it's time to get out of here.